Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Ooh, did you see that jump? It's gonna have like the reptile eyes again. I tried to get better lighting, but never for the mouth. Good lord. And I hope they do send people out to see him. Who is that freakazoid pervert asshole that was sent out the other night to even bug the store owner near closing? Alright, just so are we all on the same memo? I ain't gonna stop until I see something done. And I know one of the keys, and I know where he is, and I can get a hold of him any single second. We just knew that it wasn't time. Nobody needs to know what the fuck I'm talking about right now. I'm going to show you some art, and there's been several solar flares. Hormone time is around the bin, and the dogs are literally running through the house at me if I'm in another room. It's fun. It's fun when it's like this. So 2 days of solar flares. Why is this one breaking now? I just threw out a lampshade. So this is one picture I'm actually happy with, and then we're going to look at one more that is hilarious because I don't know what I was doing, and, I'm going to just try to let you laugh at it, but for me, it looks like some mermaid. I never even draw mermaids. I'm weirded out by that whole folklore, especially if it's true. So I think it's actually related to something with Satan, because it would lure the men out. Okay. So I'm not into the mermaid movement. I never was. Why would you want to not be able to walk? All right. So talk about feeling like a hostage in your own body. So we're going to look at this then. So should we start out worst to better? I'll show you the one I like. I love this one. Although it's still always kind of like I get to the point where I don't want to do the branches no more. This was watercolor. 2016, February, signed as Isla Moon. So it's already been, yeah. I don't know if with this group, maybe very well did get this book out. I'm going to read the back. The statistics would be different now because more people are coming out since since this production, and there's probably been some re-editing, maybe some added stories. So Wounded Heart Ministries, 1990, 1995. If it was not for this women's group I got in for healing, I would have had no proof or evidence of what my second abuser was doing to me, far away from my other abusers, about 3 hours away, and I would have had no proof. There was only 2 or 3 women in this group that still stood by my side. The church ditched us. I was actually kind of working in the church, more or less, performing, doing spiritual dance, more or less. And when I came into trouble, high and dry, I mean, just like, who's that? Did she call for help? So if it wasn't for the 3 women I met in this group, I wouldn't have been able to have the first time I tried to create boundaries with the woman that raised me, and they were able to also see proof of that, the stalking, the incessant calls, not respecting boundaries, coming up there when she wasn't supposed to, things like that. So this is very deep, though, and this should not honestly be done without a teacher, like a group. Like, I do not recommend... You may not even be able to get this if you're not in like a healing group, because this also deals with false memory issues, because that's something that perpetrators always lean on. I'll read it real quick, is a recent study. Look at the other 2 that I don't like. Okay. I was thinking like the sage green in here, but now I changed my mind again because I do like the cardinals in here. I think this just needs to be like white. It's not like me to do that, but it probably won't happen for a long time, so don't get excited. God knows gypsies are always leaving somewhere. Now, we're going to look at this. So I need to get it framed, because it's going to get... Good Lord, it's almost done 10 years. Oh my God, how did we get stuck at Brentwood for 7? Lord, I hope all this makes sense one day, but so far, I can't say a lot of it is. Some of it might, or maybe I just try to tell myself that. Someone you know has been sexually abused. A recent study indicated that 38% of the women interviewed had been sexually abused by an adult or family member by the age of 18. You may think you don't know anyone who has been sexually abused, especially if most of your friends and acquaintances are Christians. But the statistics indicate, it's kind of made me laugh because some really weird situations happened with me too in the church. And these were churches I wasn't at very long. We weren't even there like a member. Well, I would never become a member, but we were never attending for even a full year. It was more out towards Grand Rapids. So there was the one really creepy situation, and then there was like two more kind of. Okay, so if you think you don't know any, okay, Christians, but the statistics indicate otherwise. Sexual abuse knows no religious or sexual boundaries. The wounded heart is intensely personal and specific. Look at this. Look at this most soul deadening form of abuse. Personal because it may be affecting you, your spouse, a close friend or neighbor, someone you know well at church, and specific because it goes well beyond the general issues and solutions discussed in other books. Dr. Allender's book reaches deep into the wounded heart of someone you know, exploring the secret lament of the soul damaged by sexual abuse, and laying hold of the hope buried there by the one whose unstained image we all bear. These powerful pages bring the realities of damaging human experience into the perspective of a loving God. With professional skill and spiritual insight from the crucible of experience, Dr. Allender blends a keen understanding of the dynamics of sexual abuse with the practical applications of Christian truth, an excellent and timely book. John Powell, PhD, Professor, Counseling Center, Michigan State University, said that. The next quote, our next comments on it is Maxine Hancock, Dr. Pamela Reeve. But I want to get going because a spot where there isn't paint, which really honestly, for this being this old and all that it's seen for 100 and some years, cover-ups and maybe some stuff going on, there's some little paint around some of the edges, and it won't be easy to take up because it's been there a long time. And there's also like a paint remover type of thing, but I'd probably just prefer to struggle and pit and get agitated and then scrape it up or bump my knuckle and hit it on the wall and bust a knuckle and or something stupid. So, what's Maxine Hancock say? It's just all praising the book and the guy, and it's supposed to really help people. Dan B. Allender received his. I mean, I could read this now and be like, who knows? Maybe I won't agree. I think I remember the one thing in here was, gosh, it would have been the first time I heard it, trying church on and off for a long time, is the damage done in most instances to victims of sexual assault as a child is that we get accused of holding on to the bitterness or upset for too long. Christ, most of us don't even know what happened, and we're so shame-based for most of our lives, and we were blamed for it happening at a wee age, you know what I mean? And so I think I hope I'm not wrong. I hope he's one of them that is in that group, that there's a time and a place for proper forgiveness, encouraging those to not feel like they have to stuff it down and be forced to be a good person and put up with it and keep visiting the perpetrator. And this was all the stuff I was told too, like just put it behind you. Well, what about when it's still happening and you're the only one trying to make it stop, and you know the police and stuff aren't going to help. Anyhow, so we'll just see where he received his studies. Dr. Allender, say a MDiv, I think that's Master in Divinity from Westminster Theological Seminary. His PhD in Counseling Psychology from Michigan State, if this is for those that are, oh, he doesn't have like a regular one. So there you go, that's the psychology from Michigan State. He teaches in the Biblical Counseling Department at Colorado Christian University, travels extensively, seminar ministry, teaches counseling training courses. He is co-author of Bold Love and Cry of the Soul, written with Dr. Tremper Longman III, and of Encouragement. What? And of, okay, just the book, Encouragement, The Key to Caring. All right, there we go. Written by Dr. Larry Crabb D. Allender, has also written numerous pioneering works and articles on incest and shame. This book, back then, I would have bought this through the group. I had to have probably signed something. And Thomas and I were put in separate groups, but he chose to do more of a blame base towards me. He was probably not ready for some of his recall. It all happened at once. We had Anne just stalking us and harassing us, violating our boundaries. Then my son's getting more upset. Things are getting stressful, and there I am. Now I'm not only drinking once a month out there, like a half a pint a month once. I mean, I look back, I'm like, God, that would be lovely. And I just hate myself for that one. Man, oh man. However, here we are today, right? Dr. Allender exposes the rage, fear, and confusion locked deep inside every victim, and offering guidance in the midst of this confusion, he shows that there is hope for the wounded heart. Frank Minerth, MD, and Paul Meyer, MD, Minerth Meyer Clinic, Richardson, Texas. It's a hard read. We weren't put on a specific schedule. But like if it got to where I couldn't take it, then you put the book down and whatnot and all that. So some friends' pictures. It was the last. Oh my goodness, I was so young and nearly perfect. I mean, you can't say I wasn't. You know what I mean? So maybe I better, because that's violating someone's. You're like, well, you do that all the time. So this would have been one of my let's not eat food, but one huge meal a week around others so they think you eat great. Or I don't think that was really going on in my brain. It was just that was my regimen, was barely eat all week, have one big meal a week, or every few days. Oh, look at that ivory skin. And I just showed her again. All right, well, maybe someone can contact me and I can get in trouble for that. She was supposed to become a doctor. I don't know, but she wanted to be a pianist, and she was a beautiful pianist, and she wanted to focus on her music, and it was forced on her, I believe, unless it was something she was, because we can tend to want to just please our parents, so I think it was pretty forced. So she was having to study medicine and didn't want to. She didn't want to. And I wasn't focused enough on my my career of exactly what I was going to be for the next 50 years of my life. So I got thrown to the curb. So that's that. And, or my ideas of work was not up. See, so she obviously had some confusion. Because I was probably going to have to start leaning towards performing arts, studying music, most likely having to be a teacher on that spectrum, and that's okay. But I don't think it was that's not what was supposed to happen. Cute cards, super cute for birthdays and stuff there from Johnny. And so that's what we have here. And I thought we were just gonna do a little sanding and try a little tungsten oil, because I think I can use that, and I was hoping that it would just bring the grain out. And so I could have just left that where it was. Let's see. We're going to just do it right in the middle of the floor here? Okay, well, that's probably what we're going to do. So have I been up here since? So I mopped a couple times, mopped the walls. I have knee pads. I have to do that. Alright. Oh god. When there's solar flares and stuff, I get so sore. Granted, I'll probably have to go back over that. We're just in a hurry and get that done. And what I made this once. And yeah, do a little, like I said, this is just quick, and we're still not in the best light. I really should have like wiped it off first, or even just kind of a quick with a little bit of water, but I'm not going to do that on this spot. I just want to see if the tungsten oil, this is clear. It's a clear coat. See what happens here. Tungsten oil is literally an oil. It's about as natural as you can get. It doesn't have a strong odor. You're not dealing with that extra polyurethane. It does have a slight odor, and actually the shelf life is really long. But when I see how much it costs, because I got those cans, they were little cans for like 5 or 50 cents a piece at some point. Okay, it does have a scent, but I guess for me it's about as the most tolerable. I might go back over this one. So what I want to do in here, I probably want to do it everywhere up here, but that's a real disaster out there. Now that we've gotten down to the plywood, I pulled up the rest of the padding and stuff. It wasn't as bad. I made it out worse than it was. It was mainly because the one area I knew there was going to be a bunch more dust. Well, I don't want to really go over that way. I didn't sand it there. So this looks cool. Kind of brings back the natural, but you can really see how beat up it is now. So I probably would need to go in and really go on with a hand brush and scrub. And then once this dries, it'll have a different effect. I don't know, I think, because I want this to be more of like a rustic room look. Well, unfortunately, my camera is horrible, so we won't get a good look at this. So that was just with a couple moppings and a little bit of sanding. No, I'd say that's pretty promising. So I wanted to bitch about some stuff. But there's just no point in it. Some days I just try not to cry at least once. So, but the thing in, I should put the tungsten over this again, is, this thing over there, like people say, oh, they've been killing people forever. There's always genocides going on. There's nothing new. Well, it's at the rate that it is. It's at the more intensified rate. It's, yes, it never stops over there. I did my own share of history lessons, finding stuff to read and watch on the Armenians. And the weirdest part about the Armenians or devastating, is they were the first Christian nation. They have a very vibrant lifestyle. They're very, they're craftsmen, artsmen, carpenters, very gifted group. Their land is lush and gorgeous in Armenia, and they've had nothing but constant, just in like extremely disturbing stuff with the one was the Muslim leader, and then they've always got the two countries on each side trying to kill him, and take over and take the land and take the resources, and they don't even get much tourism. I don't even think they do many exports. They have, I guess, amazing wine. They do a plum vodka. They love festivals, singing, dancing. They're very religious. They're the first Christian nation over in that region to be established as a Christian nation. So we'll just take one more look. I did that research for a few days, and it's pretty messed up from it. I never really, honestly, me, myself, and I knew of all the devastation over there, but I just simply didn't want to look at it. I knew how bad it was going over here, and the angle that it was heading towards here, prior to 9/11, and especially after. And I come from a family where you were technically punished for caring. So I would be mocked and ridiculed and abused for caring. No, I can't do that. Still, oh my God, I'm so horrible. I'm such a dum-dum. I was up here the one day over there. I'm like, well, he was doing hammering and stuff one night. I didn't hear him. And then he had a day off, and he was like, yes, but I was not hammering. I'm like, oh my God, because he tightened this up. And I heard a bunch of ruckus going on up here. I did. So here, we got the scary carpet up. Not there yet, though, because it's scary. And we vacuumed it a lot. Not as scary as this one, though. And then this one would rate as third as scary. So first, neck and neck. First and second place together. Maybe third. Well, I have the worst spots like covered. Like cloth. And then this is very alarming. This is one of the other alarming things. Like, I'm like, are you sure that people would do this stuff? Like, just make the house an entire fire hazard? This, I don't know if this gets turned on, okay? Because the radiant from the boiler comes through here. But there's carpet and padding under this. And then they just put this right over that. Okay, I gotta go. Because look, we're actually, with trying to have chickens and stuff, we're doing better than I thought we would. A lot of the other crazy houses we wanted in the past were so big and ridiculous. This one is just the right size. It could be a little smaller for just us, I think we're probably pretty, impossible to live with, but, well, the dogs aren't going to let anybody live here. I mean, because we even have this fun room that can be cool one day. And I don't know what's under here. I'm assuming it's some kind of underlayment. But see, I'm short. So I'm like, oh, this is cool. But, you know, there again, little short people, they say those things. You know what I'm saying? So if you're an average sized person over the age of 20, like 5'7" and above, this isn't going to seem cool and fun in here. If you're a kid and short people like me, you're like, oh, this is a cute little spot here. Well, look at that. All right, I got to go.